Good afternoon. My name is Kimberly Ali. I am Commissioner for the Philadelphia Department of Human Services. It is so great to see all of you today as we announce an exciting opportunity for nonprofit organizations who wish to provide services to our at-risk youth in their own communities. I am honored to be joined today by Deputy Mayor Figueroa, Council President Darrell Clark, Council members Katherine Gilmore Richardson, Kenyatta Johnson, and Curtis Jones, Managing Director Tumar Alexander, and Police Commissioner Danielle Outlaw. I would like to give special thanks to all of you, and of course, our Mayor Jim Kenney, for your unwavering commitment to supporting children and families. As part of DHS core mission, we provide prevention services to children, youth, and families to divert them from the formal child welfare and juvenile justice system. Given this, I am pleased to share that on July 29th, DHS issued a request for proposal to identify 3 community evening resource centers that will provide site-based services to at-risk youth who have come to the attention of the Philadelphia police after a curfew violation. The centers are intended to augment DHS array of delinquent diversionary services by providing structured activities that promote positive youth development with an emphasis on family engagement, conflict resolution, violence prevention, mentoring, and service linkages. This is a call to action. We are encouraging nonprofit organizations to apply for the RFP. There will be a total of 3 providers selected to operate a center in one of the following geographical areas that are aligned to the Philadelphia Police Divisions. The first is the East Division, which constitutes the 24th, 25th, and 26th police districts. The Southwest Division, that constitutes the 12th, the 16th, the 18th, and the 19th police divisions. And the South Division, the 1st, the 3rd, and the 17th police district. Although additional details of the RFP can be found on eContract Philly, I do want to highlight 2 very important dates. The first is a mandatory virtual pre-proposal meeting that will be held on August the 11th at 4 p.m. All potential providers must attend this virtual meeting in order to be eligible to receive a contract. And secondly, final proposals are due on August 26th. I urge all community nonprofit organizations to apply. Thank you for your support of this very important cause. We at DHS are keenly aware that no one system, no one organization, no one individual can do this work alone. Therefore, we are excited to partner with our colleagues in other city departments, including the police, as well as community nonprofit organizations, to be a safety net for our city's youth. Thank you. Please join me in welcoming Police Commissioner Danielle Outlaw.
I'm gonna put those claps in the bottom, so every now and again where I need to hear it, I can just go like this. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So I'm gonna speak specifically, I know we're going a little bit out of order, and I haven't had the opportunity to hear yet what Councilwoman Gilmore Richardson is going to say, but pretty much my remarks are in support of what we're doing here. Not only does this show proactivity, and I just want to appreciate that, you know, we spend a lot of time in these hearings asking questions. I get grilled, and it's really helpful for us in law enforcement to see that people are really working behind the scenes to put their words into action. So I just want to say thank you publicly for doing that. Thank you very much. The changes that are being proposed in this bill that we're going to talk about today are common sense, and they represent best practices. The Philadelphia Police Department understands how upsetting it could be for children when they're taken to a police facility and are in agreement to eliminate punitive actions for minor infractions that could negatively impact the future of our children. Therefore, I wholeheartedly support the implementation of community evening resource centers. The measures in this bill are consistent with the city's overall efforts towards decriminalization of disorderly conduct type offenses in order to reduce the exposure of individuals, particularly children, to the criminal justice system for committing relatively minor infractions. However, the changes in this bill do not necessarily change the way our officers will enforce curfew violations, nor do they do away with curfew enforcement. Yes, there are provisions in the bill that would make subtle changes to curfew rules, but they were designed with our children's best interests in mind and at heart. For starters, the bill simplifies curfew enforcement by removing the different curfew times assigned between the school year and the summer. Also, it makes edits to the age groups involved. Quite frankly, it not only makes it much easier for families to explain the rules and hours of the curfews to their kids, but it also allows for more clarity for our officers to understand and enforce. Bottom line is this: we support any and all efforts that help our kids, our children, learn from their mistakes while putting them on a path to success. It is our sincere hope that the measures put forth in this bill will provide juveniles with an alternative to being on the street after curfew hours go into effect. These centers will provide resources and programming designed to engage and teach them to make more positive choices about where to spend their time at night. Lastly, ensuring the safety of our children is a priority for all of us. We look forward to working hand in hand with our community partners towards our shared goals. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Outlaw, and to your team for your commitment and for working with us over the past several months. To Commissioner Kimberly Ali, Deputy Mayor Cynthia Figueroa, Managing Director Alexander, Vanessa Garrett Harley, and your teams for all of your hard work to establish these important community resource centers and for working very closely with me and my colleagues. And speaking of colleagues, I must take this opportunity to thank my colleague and partner in this effort, Councilman Kenyatta Johnson, for standing with me and for helping me every step of the way on this journey so we can once again have evening resource centers for young people who violate curfew here in the city of Philadelphia. Thank you for your guidance and for your support. I also want to thank my colleagues, especially our leader, Council President Clark, and my district council member and colleague, Councilmember Jones. I remain grateful for your leadership and for your long-standing commitment to addressing gun violence in the city of Philadelphia. When we are facing soaring rates of gun violence, especially among our young people, it feels especially important to me as a mother of 3 young children to do all that we can and use every tool in our toolbox to keep our kids safe and provide them with spaces or resources they need to be successful. The community evening resource centers will help us build networks for young people and create safe spaces where they can get help if they need it or just engage with positive activities. Our young people in the city of Philadelphia are desperate for investment. And many of them get caught up in violence simply because they are in the wrong place at the wrong time, or because they have other challenges at home or in their community and don't have the support they need to stay safe and off the street. These are all the challenges I saw firsthand when I was a teacher at Overbrook High School, and I continue to see them today when I go out into the community. We need to not only create spaces for young people to be able to recreate and engage positively, but we also need to have safety nets so that young people who may be showing signs of trauma or challenges at home are connected to community-based and trusted resources that can help them better address their needs. We also know that we need to be investing in neighborhood-based organizations that are on the ground each and every day, doing the hard but necessary work to help stop the violence in our city. The Community Evening Resource Centers are a part of City Council and the Kenney administration's joint efforts to stem the tide of gun violence in our city by providing positive outlets for our youth. I look forward to our continued work together to drive investment into our communities and into the people who have the trust and cultural competency to support our young people. Thank you all so very, very much.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. So I'm gonna start with Councilwoman Gilmore Richardson, the alleged fresh person. The simple reality is she is not a freshman. Councilwoman has a significant tutelage under Councilwoman Blondell Reynolds Brown, and she took a page out of her book, right? She continued that theme around children. And Councilwoman, I just want to say how happy we are that you now have a bigger office now that you're the council person instead of the staffer, right? And you have used it well. So I really appreciate what you've done. Councilman Johnson, let's talk about these curfew centers, right? Because Councilman Johnson was a state rep back in the day, and he remembered when we had these curfew centers. He always would talk about curfew centers, right? And I said, yeah, Councilman, you're right. We need to do it. And Councilman, I want to thank you, for working. Councilman Jones, I was talking to him this morning, right? And I said, Councilman Jones, I can't talk now. I'm at a ceremony up at 11 in Benango, and we're cutting a ribbon for a playground, right? And it was all these kids on the swings, and they're having a ball, right? And the simple reality is, it's daytime, and we know where they are in the day. But in the nighttime, it's important to understand what we're going to do with our children when they find themselves in the wrong place at the wrong time at night. And I just want to say that it's so important that we have this event, this initiative, to make sure that our children are safe and to give them some direction. I want to thank Deputy Mayor Figueroa for understanding the need to expand the opportunities, being consistent with that theme as we talked about, inviting community organizations, providing all the advocates as we get out of this morass of this level of gun violence that we find ourselves in. So I just want to thank you, Deputy, so much for doing it and working with our colleagues so much on this. And Ms. Ali, I didn't really know you a lot, but yeah, see, Councilman Johnson was keeping her under wraps, right? But your name kept coming up in the budget discussion, I was like, well, who is she, right? It don't matter. Put some money over there. Like, whatever, right? It was cool, right? So I just want to say that, as advertised, thank you so much. Commissioner, we trying to make your job a little easier. All right. So I clearly want to thank you so much because we know you have some significant challenges. So to everybody, thank you all so much. Councilwoman, you're on point. Love it. You know, one of these days you're going to get even bigger office. But guys, thank you so much, and we really appreciate the team working together. Thank you so much.
So that might be a tough act to follow, so I'm gonna keep this real short. But I really just want to take a moment to acknowledge my colleague, Councilwoman Katherine Gilmore Richardson, and everyone. Just give her a round of applause because I've watched her trajectory from being a staff member to the chief of staff to Blondell Reynolds Brown to now becoming a member of City Council. And her passion, her commitment to young people is unwavering. And this particular initiative again shows our commitment here in the city of Philadelphia, how we are taking gun violence prevention very seriously, but most importantly, protecting our most valuable asset, and that's our children. So to Deputy Mayor Figueroa, to Commissioner Ali, to Commissioner Danielle Outlaw, we thank all of you for being partners with us, as well as my colleague, Councilman Curtis Jones, who's the chair of public safety, who has been leading this effort prior to me coming to City Council, and as well as our leadership here with Council President Darrell Clark. I'm a firm believer that we will turn back this tide of gun violence that we're seeing here in the city of Philadelphia. I do not claim the so-called trajectory of reaching 600 homicides here in the city of Philadelphia, because I believe that if we continuously work together, day in and day out, with an all hands on deck approach, then we can really reduce the level of gun violence that we are seeing here in the city of Philadelphia. I'm quite sure that, and we talk amongst ourselves just about every other day, but if the city of Chester can do it, and if Camden can do it, then surely the city of Philadelphia can do it. And it starts with making sure that we're addressing this issue with a sense of urgency, but most importantly, prioritizing our young people. And again, I'm not up here just as an elected official, but I have two African-American boys growing up in South Philadelphia, where I grew up at in Point Breeze, one 4 years old and one 6 years old. And they're very, very observant about everything that's going on around in our neighborhood. And so my priority is to make sure they are safe, but most importantly, all the children in the city of Philadelphia are safe because they are our children. So thank you very much, Councilman Gilmore Richardson, for having me here today. God bless.
So last night, Katherine Gilmore Richardson saved my life. Let me tell you how. We're at 47th and Wallooson at a town hall. And a single parent came up to me and with frustration said, I have two bad boys at home. And the choices are, do I go to work on an evening shift, or do I stay home and watch them and keep them under control? And I said, help is on the way. We have a press conference tomorrow talking about resource centers that will be applicable for your situation. So to a single parent who has to make that decision, this is real help for real parents to keep young people on the track. And I just want to thank my colleagues, the administration, but most importantly, that young lady back there who is hit the ground. I don't know, Perez, I don't call her a freshman. And, she is hit the ground with such intensity. It is like she's third term. So thank you very much.
We'll open it up for questions.
How much will the centers cost, and also how long will the contracts be for?
So the centers will be each $650,000 for each center. The centers will operate 7 days a week, and they will operate from 7 p.m. in the evening till 2 a.m. in the morning. So the contract is a yearly contract. We will do an evaluation at the point that the year ends, and then we'll make a decision in terms of renewal. We expect to announce the centers October the 1st, and then the providers will have 45 days in order to launch and become operational, and then they will begin receiving young people.
To be blunt, talk is cheap. You hear these stories over and over and over, the tensions, and for whatever reason, things deflate. What's the motivation for the children that are going to be involved in this to be involved in this program? How do you buy them? I mean, how are you going to get, because if they don't want to be part of it, you could be open all you want, the doors will be empty.
Yes, so our goal is to make sure that we engage the community. So in addition to getting the buy-in from the young people, as well as the families, the community. As Councilmember Johnson indicated, I grew up in South Philadelphia. You couldn't do too much without your neighbor knowing what you was doing. It was really a village mentality. So with these centers, we are embracing the village mentality. And so we are asking neighbors, we are asking family members to help us engage young people. And the bottom line is we're still going to be there. So even if the young person doesn't want to continue receiving services with us, then we will continue to engage that young person and their family.
Thank you, Commissioner. And I wanted to add, with the new curfew bill, with the changes in the bill, you'll notate that when a young person is picked up, they have to be taken to the Evening Resource Center if they're in violation of the curfew. So some of them won't have a choice on whether or not they can go to the center.
The stairs means you're bringing bad kids to a center where kids may want to be occupied doing fun things, and you're bringing in, like, know where I'm going with
So,
this?
yeah, they will have activities at the center, and it will be a community-based approach that will ensure we have community members, faith-based organizations, and others a part of providing positive activities to the young people at the centers.
Yeah, so actually we want to hear from the young people, right? So we already currently operate evening reporting centers, and so we think it's very important in order to create that buy-in to listen to the young people in terms of what they want to see at the center. We will do some traditional programming because we know we want to engage them. So some of the traditional curriculum, of course, will be about, anger management. It will be about positive youth development. It'll be about conflict resolution. It'll be about how to have fun, how to be a teenager. It would also talk about supports that the family may need and others in the community. But then we're going to hear from the young people, and we're going to allow the young people to help co-design the programming that they want to see. Yes, and so that's a great question in terms of we are standing up 3 community evening resource centers. We're going to do an evaluation. We will adjust in terms of meeting the needs of the young people in their community. And our long-term vision is to have 6 total community evening resource centers up and running. We are aligning them with the police divisions because we allowed the police to give us data in terms of the needs of the particular communities.
So you're basing it on, you could say, I considered that the crime statistics were most maybe impacted, most younger women, maybe impacted whether gun offenders or the ones being shot. Is that kind of
Yes, and also young people who violated curfews. We want to get to the young people before they penetrate the juvenile justice system.
And then is it 18 and under or under 18?
The age range is between 10 and 18 years of age.
But is it 18, like it could be 18 and go into that?
So,
That makes sense,
right, so if the police brings an 18-year-old to the center, we will engage that 18-year-old just like at 13. So we will engage them, right, and then ensure that that young person gets back home.
Question. So are officers now taking kids off the streets after 10 p.m.? Because I'm under the impression that that's not happening right now, taking them off and bringing them to the precincts. But now they won't start doing it and taking them to the resource center?
Unfortunately, the police commissioner had to leave. She was here earlier. She had to leave, but we will make sure she gets that question, and then we will follow up accordingly. Last question.
All right, so we have Armando who's going to come on up and give us a little Spanish translation. And if anyone has questions in Spanish, please make sure you connect with Armando.
Buenas tardes, hablo en nombre de Kimberly Ali, la comisionada para el Departamento de Servicios Sociales de Filadelfia. Es muy bueno verlos a todos aquí el día de hoy para anunciar una emocionante oportunidad para las organizaciones sin fines de lucro que desean proporcionar servicios a nuestra juventud en riesgo en la comunidad. Me honra al contar con la presencia de la vicealcaldesa Figueroa, el presidente del Consejo Municipal, Darren Clark, los concejales Katherine, Gilmore, Richardson, Kenyatta Johnson, Artis Jones, el director gerente Tumar Alexander, la comisionada de policía Danielle Outlaw. Me gustaría agradecerles a todos y por supuesto al alcalde Jim Kenney, con cuyo inquebrantable compromiso para apoyar a las familias y a los niños queda en evidencia. ¿Qué es lo que hacemos en DHS? Parte de nuestra misión central es el proporcionar servicios a los jóvenes, niños y a sus familias para desviarlos de los sistemas de bienestar juvenil y el sistema de justicia juvenil. El anuncio con respecto a los centros comunitarios. Me complace compartir que el día 29 de julio el Departamento de Servicios Comunitarios emitió una licitación para identificar a 3 centros comunitarios de apoyo, que en sus locales van a proporcionar servicios a la juventud en riesgo que han atraído la atención del Departamento de Policía tras violar un toque de queda. Estos centros servirán para expandir la gama de servicios que proporciona DHS como alternativas a los servicios de los jóvenes que no entren al sistema penal, proporcionándole actividades estructuradas que promuevan la participación y el desarrollo juvenil, con un énfasis en la participación de la familia, la resolución de los conflictos, la prevención de la violencia, los mentores y la conexión a servicios. DHS alienta a los proporcionadores de estos servicios a que soliciten una licitación. Se escogerán 3 para operar centros en las siguientes áreas geográficas alineadas con el Departamento de Policía. En el este, el distrito 24, 25 y 26. En el suroeste, los distritos 12, 16, 18 y 19. Y en la división sur, el 1, 3 y el 17. A mayores detalles en el sitio web que se puede encontrar en econtract.philly. Quiero resaltar 2 fechas importantes. La primera reunión previa a la recepción de propuestas será virtual el día 1 de agosto a las 4 de la tarde, 11 de agosto a las 4 de la tarde. Todos los proveedores potenciales tienen que asistir para poder recibir un contrato. La segunda es que las licitaciones en forma final tienen que presentarse para el día 26 de agosto. Invito a todos los proveedores de la comunidad que soliciten y les agradezco por su apoyo a esta causa tan importante. Nosotros estamos muy conscientes de que nadie solo, ninguna organización ni individuo puede trabajarlo sin apoyo. Por lo tanto, nos emociona asociarnos con colegas, con otros departamentos de la ciudad, incluyendo la comunidad y los centros comunitarios, para ofrecerles seguridad a nuestros jóvenes. Gracias.
Thank you.
If there's anyone who has questions in Spanish, now would be a great time to come forward.